Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me, as always, and we're ready to do this thing coming off a huge weekend, UFC 271, as well as the Super Bowl. I call it the Super Bowl. I was messing with my daughter one day, and I told her the reason they call it the Super Bowl is because people always eat a lot of soup, you know. That didn't work out too well for me. But how you doing, bro? How you feel, man?
Yo, good, bud. Coming off like I said, there's a lot of stuff going on this weekend. No rest for the weary, and then we had Super Bowl yesterday, which I enjoyed the game. I was actually pulling for the Rams just because everybody else in the house was pulling for the Bengals. So I said, let me be different.
I was pulling for the Bengals too, man. I want to see Joe Burrow actually, prove all the naysayers, man, who didn't think he was the real deal. But the kid definitely is unflappable. But that damn Aaron Donald, man, he's a beast. I mean, I would not want to be a quarterback playing against that guy right there, man. Seriously, man.
He really is. He's something
special.
You
got to have that literally that two-step drop and that 2.1 second release to get away from that boy, because he'd be coming like a locomotive. And anything in his way is going to be destroyed. So definitely, man, bad dude. Congratulations, though, to the Rams, man. They played a hell of a game.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I thought that they were in trouble when Odell went out. Yeah, I said, oh man, that means everything's going to be going to Cup, and everything did go to Cup, but it just took them to the fourth quarter there to go ahead and start really running some good offense after that second half, and so I enjoyed the halftime show. I don't know about you. I love the halftime show.
What you think about Eminem, man? Everybody's talking about him right now, being the guy that stepped up. Yeah, you know what, man? I'm gonna tell you right now, man. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm proud of Eminem. All right, I'm glad he was willing to go out on his shield. But when you got as much money as guys like Eminem, they say the hell with what the rules are. I'm gonna do what the hell I want to do, and I appreciate that. I'm serious, man. I really do.
Look, I didn't even notice it during the show. Yeah. I didn't notice it. I think we were all paying attention to Dr. Dre playing the piano.
I think
you know what I mean? I think everyone's like, "Oh man, look at Dre! Dre's going in on the piano." Yeah. So I didn't even recognize.
We haven't seen that like that before. I'm like, wait a minute, what the hell's going on there? When did Dre learn how to play the piano? I know he knew how to play that little gimmick, you know what I mean, but not the piano. But it definitely was an adjustment there. I definitely made you look one way when something else was going on. It was pretty cool.
Were you worried about 50? I was worried about 50 hanging upside down. I was like, 50, come on, man. Let's not have a Super Bowl moment here. Something give way. You're a lot of man. You know what I mean? He's not a little guy by any stretch of the imagination.
He's not a little guy anymore, but all the brothers, man, even Dre, man, had a little weight on him, around the midsection. But
Snoop Dogg has been 115 pounds his entire life, I think. Snoop is, by the way, the coolest guy I think to ever walk the face of the earth. And I really mean that. He never cares. He feels comfortable in every situation he's in. He's the life of the party, and everybody loves him. I was telling my dad, he was like, who's performed at the Super Bowl? And halftime, I was telling him, like, Kendrick Lamar, and he's like, I don't know who that is. And I was like, well, Snoop's going to be there. He goes, oh, I like Snoop Dogg. My dad was born in the 40s from Waco, Texas, but he still rides with Snoop Dogg. Snoop's universal. He's international. Everybody loves him.
Yeah. Snoop came out. He did his thing, man. OG Crippin.
He was Crip walking, wasn't he?
I'm serious, man. But it was awesome, man. It was awesome actually to see the brothers actually get a chance at the halftime Super Bowl, the biggest spotlight you can ever perhaps be in from a musical artists. And I tell you, man, they did the thing, man. They did the damn thing. Mary J. Blige, one thing, that's the only thing that got me. Mary needed some damn clothes on. Okay? Mary, 51 years old. Ain't nobody got no damn time to be looking at no. Come on. Get real here. We got kids, running around, and she got a bikini on the shit. That's the only throwback. And then I know somebody going to say, come on, man, you got to let women be women, man. You got to let them be themselves. I get it, okay? I get it. It's not like I didn't want to see Mary J. It's not like I didn't want to see her do a thing. And the thing is, it's not that she wasn't looking good. But come on now. We passed that. I'm just saying.
You know, I mean, Mary, I think she looks great for her age. She definitely looks great for 51 years old.
If it,
You know what
and
I
the thing
mean?
is, somebody right now saying that if it was J Lo, you wouldn't be saying nothing. You damn right.
You wouldn't be saying nothing, man. I was about to bring that point up right now because I saw the new J-Lo movie. Let me tell you, brother,
Yeah.
holds up. She holds up.
You know what? I would have been saying about J Lo too, man. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't be saying it as loud.
You wouldn't be saying it on the air. You might have thought it.
Oh man, no, but they did their thing, man. Mary J did her thing as well, man. But
Yeah.
it was an awesome
Uh,
halftime show.
Vitamin Vision TV said, Book, I think you need to get 50 down to reality wrestling. Might be your next heavyweight champ. 50 does live in Houston. He is an H-Town
Yeah,
boy
that's
now.
right, that's right. That is true, man. We definitely might get use some muscle on our next show coming up here in the next couple of days, actually. So
50's jacked, man. 50's real jacked.
oh, he's not jacked. He's just big. You know,
But he used to be jacked.
50 used to be jacked. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He used to frequent the gym every now and then. Now, the last time it was probably him going about 50, passing the gym. Hey, man.
Look, man, he said he was going to get rich or die trying. Last night, he looked like he was dying trying. I'll be honest with you. It
Oh,
looked
man.
like he might struggle to end the club a little bit.
Hey, man, but it was a good show, though, man. Like I say,
It
all
was.
in all, I think it was a huge success. And for, like I say, the first time, rap take the stage at the Super Bowl, it just let you know how I was listening to Snoop Dogg talk last week, before the Super Bowl, and he was saying, it's about time, hip hop finally made its way to the stage. Hip hop being the most listened to music in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's amazing. That came all from Rapper's Delight. That's amazing. You know what I mean? And songs like that. And the thing is, I never thought that rap would dominate the airways on a radio station. You know what I mean? I never thought that. And boom, we're here. So Snoop's right, man. And props are given, seriously.
What did Big say? I never thought hip hop would take it this far, right?
Yeah.
And it did. It did. I mean, I love all that, and I love being able to see it on the center stage. Like we've had rap, right? Like sprinkled in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Never 100%.
Never the main event.
Never the main event. Yeah, that's the word for it. Never the main event. So,
The main event.
hey, I think, and here's the thing: if you're going to like pick a hip hop Avengers to set it off for the first time, I mean, you had Dre, Snoop, 50, Eminem, Kendrick, and Mary J. Like that's a nice little collective.
Yeah.
To give you a little slice of heaven, you know what I mean, of hip hop heaven. And they all did hits, so I appreciated it all. I appreciated it all, Book. It was cool. It was cool just to, like you said, to think of. I even remember growing up in my generation, hip hop was still stigmatized.
Yeah.
It was still like, oh, that's over here, right? We're focused on this over here. You know what I mean? So to see where it is today, it is pop. It's pop music, man. So it's cool.
Hey man, the one thing that I took away from that thing was you had the OGs up there, Snoop and Dre and whatnot, Mary J, M, but they let the young brother Kendrick Lamar have his piece of the action. Just go to show you how much they really respect that young brother and how good he really is, man. He was awesome. He was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And as a entertainer, man, in the rap game, I really don't think they come no better than Kendrick Lamar. And I realized that some years ago when one of his first songs we started listening to, and then I named my son Kendrick. That's how good I thought this guy was, and I like this name too. So, yeah, big ups to letting that brother get in there and shine as well.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that. Yeah, definitely. All aces for me for the halftime show. I do think we have to get into several things. Several things.
Yeah.
Regarding
we got
UFC and all that. Yeah.
We got to take a break. Stick around, guys. We're going to get right into it. We'll be back in a minute. You're worth it.
Walker Texas Ranger handles the bad guys with a roundhouse kick. I'm Jim Walker, Walker Texas lawyer. I handle the insurance companies with a roundhouse kick to the wallet. If you've been injured in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, give me a call at 713-552-1117 or visit my website at walkertexaslawyer.com. You'll be glad you did. Why would you call anyone else?
Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. I know we got to get right into it, man. UFC 271 went down right here in Houston, Texas, at the Toyota Center on this past Saturday night. And I must say, man, what an extravaganza! What a night! What a fight! And for me to be right there in the middle of it myself, as well as you, Brad, right in the middle of it, it was. I must say, man, we couldn't have had a better seat in the house, up close and personal as we was. The brisket. I'm gonna tell you,
the brisket was great.
Brisket was great, man. I must say, man, they treat the media really, really well. UFC media room. So my thing is, man, I had a great time all across the board, except my picks, man. I was 2 out of 5 as far as my picks go, and I was a little disappointed as far as that go. I mean, with the Cannonier fight, I was almost, 1 out of 5. And that right there, I was like, wait, what the hell's just one of those nights. It's always a bad night in your hometown. I think that's what it was. I think it was the hometown jinx more than anything. But another fight, we're going to, let's get into the co-main right now. Let's get into the co-main.
Okay, Derek Lewis.
Yeah.
Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah. That fight right there, I bet with my heart, okay, just because I want to, definitely not go against H-Town's own Black Beast, Derek Lewis. I didn't want to do it. And the thing is, Brad, you know this. I picked Tai Tuivasa to win that fight. And then I changed my pick right at the last minute to Derek Lewis, but I put an asterisk by that fight right there just because I like Tai Tuivasa said, he's young and he's hungry. That right there, man, will make you go out there and, push yourself. Go a little bit further. You get hit. You bite down on your mouthpiece a little bit harder when you're young and hungry. Derek Lewis, he's been in the game. He's tasted a victory. He's been so close to actually, crossing over and really, really, making perhaps that huge big payday, but seemed to come up short at those moments. But it was I thought it was a good fight. But once it got to the second round, that's when I started thinking, man, I don't know how much more Derek is going to have in the tank. And I start worrying when we got to that second round. I must say that.
Well, I wasn't as concerned as you were because I think I was thinking with my heart as well with Derek Lewis. And I, coming off of his fight with Cyril Gahn in Houston, I was like, okay, he's going to come out here and do something special. Because I will say, when he comes out the top drop, you got to be in the building to know how that feels. And that wins you over.
In Houston, you got to be in the building.
In Houston, it's insane, because as soon as the boom comes in, everybody, And so I was thinking with my heart a little bit as well. After the first round, I thought Derek had a good showing, but the one thing that did stick out to me was how much punishment Tai Tuivasa was taking in that first round. How many of those big shots that we'd seen drop some guys he was able to take and then keep on walking after that. He didn't even sit on his stool. He was ready to go.
I'll tell you, when Derek had him on the ground against the cage, dropping bombs, a lot of those bombs he evaded, and he just literally just threw caution to the wind and just like, I got to get up, I got to move, and then found himself back, to his feet right there. That was the one shot I thought Derek was about to finish the thing off. I say it's over. This is it. If Derek would have landed perhaps one clean shot, it perhaps would have been over. But I don't think even as much of a storm that Ty was in, I don't think he got hit with anything that was telling enough to where it was going to put him in another time zone or anything like that. My thing is this: I asked Dana a question about Derek Lewis, and 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 I was talking about those fights, those big fights, the Cyril Guns, the DCs of the world. He's almost been at that point to where he could cash in, but come up a little bit short. What do you think is going to happen with the Black Beast going forward in the UFC?
You know, I've heard you talk about this before, and I'm starting to think it's kind of in the situation that we're in with Black Beast. Is you've talked about a certain performer, a certain fighter, who, if it's a B minus level or a C level or a D level fighter, they'll win every time, right? But if
Yeah,
it's a B plus, A minus, A fighter, they're
yeah,
always going to take it on the chin. And for me, as much as I love Derek Lewis, it seems as though when he meets somebody who's in that either same range as him or a little bit bigger, a little bit higher, he's just not able to go into that next gear and get the job done. I mean, even some of the wins that he's had have come out of luck. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
last second, just catches him on the chin with 15
Volkanovski.
seconds left. Volkanovski, yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Uh,
yeah,
uh, 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 15 seconds left or something like that, right? Or
yeah,
30
yeah,
seconds left and
yeah,
hits it, but losing the whole fight. And I just worry about Derek as far as, is he going to be a main event guy in the heavyweight division? The thing that he has going for him, though, is there not a lot of guys in that heavyweight division,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Once you get past the top three, it's a lot of, oh yeah, that guy is in the heavyweights, right? Oh, he is in the top 10. So that's one thing he has going for him. I think that this hurts his stock, though. You
You
know,
know,
it's not 2 in a row, but it's 2 in a row in Houston.
I think it might have hurt his stock, maybe, but one thing I must say about Derek Lewis, he's an overachiever.
Yeah.
He's not the guy that anyone expected to make it this far in the UFC, to have the most knockouts in the UFC. A guy that didn't come, from the Black Zillions, some known camp around the world. He's he's H-Town's own, a guy that's almost like a blue collar worker that just goes out and get the job done. And most of the time when he fight hard enough, he comes out with a victory. But like you say, those elite guys, those A-level fighter, A-plus level fighters, he's always going to have a problem with those guys, especially the wrestler that can fight, the wrestler that can box and move. He's going to have a whole lot of problems with guys like that, as well as literally, I think Derek Lewis has faked it a long way from a cardio perspective, because I don't think his cardio has ever been. I don't think he's really ever worked on his cardio to the point to where he was. I wouldn't say serious, but to the point to where that wasn't going to be a problem in a fight. Okay. I don't think Derek has ever felt that way, where he could just put it on cruise control and know I can go out here and fight 5 rounds if I need to. Last time Derek Lewis was asked about a championship, he said they better make it a 3-round fight. Otherwise, I don't want it.
Right.
So that
Yeah, he's never been in there with cardio. I mean, we've seen him huff and puff in later rounds. That's why he tries to go up there, load up quick, and get him out of there. And it's worked for him a lot of the times. But like you said, going into that round 2 with Tai Tuivasa, you got concerned. And why do you get concerned? You get concerned with the same reason we always do. When it gets later in Derek Lewis fights, that same power isn't there. And he can't take as much. And it was one good elbow right in front of us, right? Like 6 feet away from us. We saw it. One good elbow right to the side of the dome and dropped him.
That thing was hard too, man.
Like he took a Ric Flair bump. Like
he took the Ric Flair. All he had to do was just take 2 steps first, and then take throw the nose up and take the dive. But nah, man, it was you knew it was over.
Yeah,
you knew it was over. The referee, I don't think the ref even started a count or anything like that. I think he just waved it off. And a lot of that, I think a lot of that was just Derek Lewis being tired.
Mm-hmm.
I think the shot was hard, but I think it was Derek being tired and saying, "Man, I don't see a route tonight as far as victory go." Because I don't think Tai Tuivasa was going to, let up off the gas or anything like that. I think it was going to, even get tougher and tougher and tougher for Derek as the fight went on. And there again, a lot of it I think was partly due to his cardio. One guy I want to mention, Bobby Green. I want to throw some respect on that brother's name because I picked Bobby Green to lose, and the only reason I picked Bobby Green to lose is because Bobby Green is not the UFC darling. He's not the guy that the UFC are going to give any easy fights to. They're looking to, throw him out there, and if they get a guy that can drag him down, he's going to lose. I don't think they're looking to put Bobby Green in any title pictures or anything like that. No matter how hard he fights or how good he is, they're always putting him in a position where he's supposed to lose, but he always seemed to bite down on his mouthpiece. And the brother is good. I must say, Bobby Green is good. I just want to say I apologize for going against H-Town's Bobby Green because he went out there and put hands on that boy. And the thing is, I thought that kid was going to wrestle Bobby Green. I thought he was going to try to drag him down and then try to beat him on the ground. But he fought from a stand-up perspective, and I think Bobby Green was just too good, too elusive to be beat from that perspective on that night in Houston, Texas. So big ups to Bobby Green. Mean Bobby Green.
Yeah, I'm always impressed by Bobby Green. I mean, we saw him fight the last time he was here in Houston. He's just really a great performer as well as fighter. You feel energy coming off of him. He talks trash while he's in there. He brushes his shoulders off, and he looks like he knows what he's doing in there. Unlike my man, remember my guy here? Remember this guy, Book?
Yeah, the kid from Houston now.
Martinez?
Yeah.
That guy.
That's called the herky jerky style, and it didn't work. Didn't work for him, but he almost came back. He almost came
third
back.
round.
He almost came back and got the win by spectacular knockout, man. I mean, he was that close. So maybe that drunken monkey kung fu was something that it took a little time to warm up, but definitely he got his groove on there towards the end of that fight. So yeah, big ups, man. We got to talk about the main event, but I know we got to take a break. Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker, and a lot of people looking at that fight like it had a lot of controversy behind it. A lot of people think Robert Whittaker won that fight. We got to talk about it. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
So when I think back of my time on the Independents, I was there for a long time. I was busting my ass for 15 years on the Independents before I made it to WWE. And for a long time, for I would say 95% of those 15 years, I had no idea if WWE even knew who I was, So I had no contact with them, no any kind of hope that I was going to make it here. I had hope, but I had no reason to believe that I would, except for my own belief in myself. But the Independent was crucial in keeping that passion alive. And it didn't matter if it was 20 people, 200 people, 2,000 people. On the independent scene, you get to have this interaction with fans and the fan base that's unlike anything, the scope of WWE. We get to interact with our fans, but nothing like on the independent scene. You're out there selling your own merch. You're out there hustling, trying to make as much money as you can. And that whole experience really kept my passion for wrestling alive, even though I didn't know if it was going anywhere. I wouldn't be who I am without that time I spent on the independent. So it's crucial for anybody, I think, to have that time.
Perfect. Can you dig it, sucker? Shoop! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Main event, UFC 271, Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker 2. A lot of people saying that Robert Whittaker won 3 out of 5 of those rounds. And the thing is, I understand why a lot of people may look at it that way from a perspective, because it was a close fight. And a lot of people say, well, what about the takedowns? What about the takedowns? I acknowledge the takedown, but I just don't think it was enough done in the takedowns. I don't think he held him for a complete takedown, as well as I don't think he did enough damage or any damage to Israel Adesanya when he was on the ground to actually be effective to where he would have won one of those matches. And I say that because I say, as far as the damage goes, at the presser, Israel Adesanya, he didn't even look like he'd been in a fight.
No.
It didn't even look like his face had been touched at all. I mean, he didn't even have any abrasions or anything like that at the end of that fight. Robert Whittaker was touched up. Robert
Yeah.
Whittaker was pretty bruised and battered after that fight, but not broken or anything like that. But I do think the most damage in that fight was done by Israel Adesanya. Now, one could say that, well, you can't judge. Maybe that happened in one round. Maybe all of that damage happened in 2 rounds. Maybe it did. I don't know. But from my perspective, sitting there at cage site, I thought Israel Adesanya did enough to win the fight. Let's just say this: I think Israel Adesanya did enough not to lose the fight. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment. I think that when we were watching the fight, it was close. There were a lot of close moments. And I would look at you after the round. I'd be like, I think Izzy won that one. Maybe Whittaker won that round because some of them, look, this wasn't an offensive spectacle by any stretch of the imagination. These were 2 guys who both went in with a strategy, were aware of what each other was able to do the last time, and they were a bit cautious in their offense, right? I mean, they were like, okay, look, let's feel this one out. It was more of a technical matchup between the 2 guys than it was just a heavyweight Derek Lewis style fight, right? They're not just going to go in there and start throwing bombs. It was really measured. So when there's kind of that lack of offense, you do hone in on things like takedowns. You hone in on things like that, and you say, okay, well, there weren't a lot of punches thrown, but he took him down 3 times. Doesn't that count or something? So at the conclusion of the 5th round, I was pretty sure that Israel Adesanya won the fight. I didn't think that Whittaker did enough to 100% beat the champion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But had Bruce Buffer went, and no, right? I wouldn't have been shocked. I wouldn't have been shocked.
I
wouldn't have been shocked because some of them were so close.
Yeah,
they were so close. I can see why people scored it for Whittaker.
I just can't see Bruce Buffer saying that after the fight. I just couldn't picture that, and everybody say, oh, okay, I saw that. I think that arena would have erupted, even though it erupted, for Whittaker, because a lot of people, actually thought Whittaker won the fight. But for me, I just don't think he did nowhere near enough to where at the end of that fight, anticipating, hearing that sound as far as which way it's going to go. And he says, and the new, UFC champion, Robert Whittaker. I just didn't see that at all. Like I say, was it close? Yes, but I just do not think the title changes hands in a fight like that. I just don't.
I hear you.
Be wrong. I could have easily said it was a draw, even though I know in mixed martial arts and UFC that's kind of hard to come by, just because that one swing round, it's just hard to call that round even. It's just hard.
Yeah.
So for me, a draw, a split decision, something like that, I could buy, but it was still went towards Israel Adesanya.
Yeah, I scored the fight for Izzy too. Again, I wouldn't have been shocked if it went the other way, or probably a draw would have been a more fair assessment. I wouldn't have been shocked by a draw. Now Izzy has defended the title in his mind 5 times, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to face Cannonier next, who we saw go out there against Brunson and have a comeback victory of his own. Here's the thing. I want to say this about Cannonier. Brunson had that rear naked choke locked in, right? And Cannonier,
he just didn't have enough time, though.
He didn't have enough time, but there was like 10 seconds on the clock.
It was 10
8
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah, he definitely
Something like that.
He bit down on his mouthpiece for 10 seconds.
Incredible.
I don't know if he held his breath. I don't know what he did, but the rear naked was locked in tight. Derek Brunson won that fight. Like if it was on points, Derek Brunson won the fight. Okay,
Yeah.
That's just not the way the fight game is. And I tell you, Cannonier is he's an animal, man. You got to separate him from his senses to actually be able to to get him to stop, because there again, Brunson beat him in every facet of that fight, but still lost. Just go to show you how bad Cannonier wanted it, more than anything. Not that Brunson didn't want it, but Cannonier wanted it more. And you got to question what's that fight going to look like? Izzy versus Cannonier. Me personally, I don't see any options, any avenues for victory for Cannonier fighting the way he did against Derek Brunson, against Israel Adesanya. I see no path to victory. I could be wrong. Every fighter has a puncher's chance, but I just do not see any path of victory if he fights the same way he fought Derek Brunson. It's going to be quick.
Yeah, I don't see him coming out the victor on that. I think that he's deserving the next shot. I think he's earned the next shot, but it's only going to be a shot, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to turn into anything more than that. Israel was way more dynamic than Jared Cannonier, especially at 185. I don't see anybody in that 185-pound division really giving Izzy a run for his money, other than Robert Whittaker.
What about the person that called out Israel Adesanya? He didn't comment or anything, but Shemaev.
I look, there's still a lot of hype around Shemaev, and correct me if I'm wrong, he hasn't fought since he had the COVID scare, right?
Right.
I don't think he's fought since then. So right now, he's still all hype to me. I think that look, don't get me wrong, I think that he's really, really good. I just don't know how good. And he definitely hasn't shown me enough or anywhere near enough to say, one, he's earned a title shot, and two, he could beat Israel Adesanya.
You know what his hype,
different world.
You know what his hype kind of reminds me of just a little bit. We had so high hopes for this guy, and we thought he was just going to come in and just run through everybody. Johnny Walker.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
That's what he kind of reminds me of, as far as a guy that's come in and really taken the MMA world by storm. In the beginning, where you thought this guy was, man, this is it. This guy here, you got to check him out. And then he goes out and get the hell beat out of him. Not just once, not twice, but I think 3 times since his.
Well, they were saying that he was going to be the next John Jones.
Yeah, exactly. So Shemaev actually has that same buzz, that same feel, and he's a big guy. He's not a small guy. I think he had a wrestling exhibition with, who was that? I can't remember who it was, not too long ago, and he just stretched him and tapped him out like it was nothing. So he's definitely somebody on the radar. He's definitely someone that Israel Adesanya is going to have to reckon with, sometime here, there, or another. So I'm looking forward to a fight like that, but we'll see it when it happens.
It's hard to live up to that hype, though, right? I mean, I don't know if there's ever been anybody who's been that hyped who has delivered 100% of the time, right? I mean, if you think about certain guys who are hyped, I mean, Israel is one of the guys who's hyped. John Jones has been hyped.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar, I think, came in with a lot of hype. And Brock had a good run. He didn't have a great run in the UFC. I think he had a really good run in the UFC. By the way, speaking of Brock, I just remember this. Brock Lesnar did an interview today with Pat McAfee on his show. He did an hour with Pat McAfee. I've never seen Brock in this fashion. I suggest everybody go watch it. In the first 30 seconds of the interview, he breaks Pat McAfee's desk with his fists. Just completely shatters this desk that he was sitting at.
For what?
Just to do it. He goes, "You got $5 million, right? From some podcast advertisement." Boom, breaks the table. And then at the end of the interview, throws his headphones off so viciously they get stuck in the rafters of the Pat McAfee studios.
Was he upset about something?
No, he was just leaving. He had to make a Brock Lesnar exit. And he does a one-of-a-kind Stone Cold Steve Austin impression.
Really?
Like spot on Steve Austin impression. A side of
something,
Brock I've never heard before.
Something that, you know what, is a side that you shouldn't have seen before, because he's been playing his role. He made people think he was, that guy every time he walked out of the curtain. And that's the concept of what I talked about before of, being the phenom on Monday night and being a chef on Twitch on Thursday, and still trying to come out and have that that feeling that you can give people, and it's not the same. I always say, when I tell you what, when I saw Hogan Knows Best, and Hogan went to take a crap, I say I don't never want to see this guy ever again. He messed up the allure of Hulk Hogan. He messed up the view of the way people wanted to see Hulk Hogan. They didn't want to see him as a regular guy. And when he did that, it could mess up everything. I always say, as a professional wrestler, you don't even want the fans to see you before you make your entrance. Don't let them see you coming in the building. Don't hang out around the curtain where somebody can spot you. Don't even go out and do a promo early if you don't have to. Don't set someone up for something like that, because the first time they see you, that's when you're going to get that big pop. And you never want to, it's just like, just say, for instance, bringing the fans in the back and having them mingle and just hang out. That's just not the way it works in order for the fan to actually have that experience of feeling a certain way about that person that they, look up to. Like, we got to talk about the Israel Adesanya moment. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. You're worth it.
For 13 years, the King of Solar Screens has been an industry leader, and we proudly use 100% American-made products. Home of the $55 any size, any color solar screen.
Well, what about arches?
$55.
What about circles?
$55.
What about rectangles?
$55.
Any size, any color, installed free. The King of Solar Screens, on time, every time.
Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. At a moment on Saturday night in the presser, getting a chance to ask a few questions and talk to the fighters, and came to Israel Adesanya making his way into the press room, answer a few questions, and he spotted me. And he had a moment. He had a moment there because he felt a certain way about me when he was a kid. The one thing he said was, "Man, a little Izzy in me is going crazy right now," which is really, really cool. Israel Adesanya's got a chance to see me in from a certain perspective throughout, his whole childhood. Now I'm getting a chance to watch Israel Adesanya from a perspective, and I watched this guy conduct himself, in the media squad, and he's so intelligent. He's so quick-wit. He's so fascinating. You want to, want to be a part of, his aura and what's going on. And if Israel Adesanya, if he took that away from you, he definitely would not be the same person. You would not look at him the same way. So therefore, there again, going back to Brock Lesnar, having this interview. How many times have you seen Brock Lesnar do an interview before?
None that I could even remember.
Exactly my point. So now he can open the door just a little bit and let you see that, hey, man, I'm just a regular guy. I've just been playing my role for the last 20 years on television to make you believe in me a certain way. So, nah, man, that's what this thing's all about. But back to Israel Adesanya, man, in that moment, I want to say, man, I'm humbled, and I appreciate the young brother for there again, keeping me relevant. I've been all over Twitter for the last couple of days. That clip been going all over. My phone's been ringing off the hook for interviews. Sports Illustrated calling me immediately, after I got home that night and wanted to interview. So my thing is this, man. I appreciate it. Someone like him recognizing me and putting some respect on my name, like he said to one of the pressers, put some respect on his name, and definitely awesome to get a chance to meet someone like Israel Adesanya in person. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely. I think I saw a quote out that you had in one of the interviews you did on Twitter about him being a once in a generation athlete, right? And he really is that level of incredible in as far as being an MMA fighter. It was a cool moment because here's a little behind the scenes too of it. Is we were sitting there, I think Robert Whittaker had just left. And by the way, guys, this was like, I don't know, was it like 1:15 in the morning or
It was
something?
1 o'clock in the morning. It was 1 o'clock in the morning. It was like,
Yeah,
it was after 1 o'clock. Yes.
it was after 1 o'clock. And Book was like, hey, you ready to get out of here? I was like, yeah. I said, you want to see who they have next? You're like, yeah, let's see who they have next. And it was Israel. And I just had a feeling because I knew Izzy was a wrestling fan. I'm like, if he sees you, maybe he'll say something. Or if you ask him a question, maybe you'll have a cool moment. I saw it happen in my mind. But what was great was not even on a question that you asked. Is what made the moment better.
Yeah.
Is a gentleman in the front was asking a question, and Izzy, you see it on his face completely as he's scanning the room. He then catches eyes with you, and he has no idea what this man just asked him.
He goes, yeah.
He goes, yeah. Is that Booker T? And then you hear the guy go, yes, it is. What the?
Yeah.
Holy hell. Whoa, the hell,
What a
Booker?
moment. Yeah.
What
yeah.
are you doing here?
What's crazy is I saw in one of the comments on one of the sites, and they say, well, Booker T, that just goes to show you these ex-WWE wrestlers are broke as hell. Booker T's in there asking questions to MMA fighters. And then I was thinking, and I was thinking about that person that put that comment out there, and I go, man, this person obviously doesn't know that those guys that's in the media room, most of them are journalists, and journalists make a lot of money. And I want to figure out, I always wanted to be a journalist, but I just didn't want to go to school. But I wanted to figure out how to be a journalist. And here I am, in the presser, getting a chance to ask really poignant questions. And I think my questions was just as good as any one of those journalists that was in the media room. I really do. I think some of my questions were perhaps even better because Robert Whittaker, the question I asked him as far as how can he laugh, how can he smile about what was happening after that fight and whatnot. And they say you smile and you laugh to keep from crying in certain situations. And the question that I asked him, he went to that point to where he really made me feel as a journalist, listen to him answer the question. And he almost got to that point. And at the end of it, he said, man, it's about feeding my family. I get that. I get it 100%. Even though I know he was gutted, just like he said, even though I know it's staying to the utmost. But someone like that, man, a lot of class. And he might have went back to his room, his dressing room. He might have went to the shower, like he said, his quiet time when nobody's around him. He might have cried, bawled his eyes out. But I respect Robert Whittaker to the utmost. All man, big time.
Yeah, I mean, he was very impressive, even in defeat, very gracious in defeat, which is hard to do, especially when it's the second time to one guy, right?
Yeah.
And to me, I loved seeing all of this. And you said that he's a classy guy. Well, let me ask you this though. Oh, and real quick, Daryl Alexander says, kayfabe may be mortally wounded, but it is not dead yet, baby. Salute to the panel. Appreciate it, Daryl.
Yeah.
You speaking of classy guys, I saw that you pieced it up with a long time rival of the program.
But think about this though. Think about this. He wasn't a rival for.
We're talking about Ariel Helwani.
I know it. He wasn't a rival. Ariel Helwani was the guy that we always would go to for expert knowledge. You and I would always call Ariel, hey man, can we get you on the show? And Ariel was always gracious. He always would come on the show and give us some time. And like I say, maybe he was corrupted. Maybe DC corrupted. Maybe he thought he was a wrestler for a minute and just started, saying some of the craziest stuff. You know what? People change. Okay, people change. As well as I'm a forgiving man. I say let's bury the hatchet, and I might need Ariel to come on the show and give us some expert knowledge in the future. He might need me to come over there and talk a little bit. So I thought it was the right thing to do. I'm mad enough to say, hey man, let's squash this, bro. It's doing nothing for either one of us.
Yeah, so I got to go check out the interview, but I saw that y'all are going to piece it up, and so that's one rivalry that we can now put to bed here on the show.
Yeah,
we still have several others that are lingering out there.
Yeah,
that we got to get some resolution. Macaulay Culkin, Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah,
the list goes on. DC is one of them as well.
Definitely.
But it was good to see. And it's cool too. It was although we've been talking about MMA forever on this show, I feel like this was your MMA journalist coming out party.
I think so.
That's what it felt like.
I got a chance to I made a new friend today. I got a chance to do Renee Young and Angela Hill show on Sirius XM. And Angela Hill, man, she was really, really cool, man. She seemed like she became a fan, instantly. So I'm looking forward to actually getting a chance to meet her in person as well. But I think this was my journalism coming out party. There again is something that I've always wanted to do. You're going to see me a whole lot more at fights. It takes you have to like what you're doing to stick around, even though the fights are great. It's a lot of adrenaline going on, but you have to really love what you do to stick around for 8 hours. All right, just to get a chance to hang out and ask a few questions and talk to these guys. For me, I need as much content as I possibly can. I really want to let everyone know how serious I am as far as making this endeavor into being able to be one of the guys that are taken seriously when they see me in the press room, opposed to just being some ex-professional wrestler there playing games. That's not what this thing is about at all. I'm looking forward to my future in broadcasting, and hopefully we can make it. Look here, I want one of them Pat McAfee contracts, man. I want some big money, and I'm shopping this thing right now. So trust me, I'm gonna be at every boxing match. I'm gonna be at every mixed martial arts event. I'm gonna be at every UFC event. So guys, get ready to watch my ass on a regular basis.
Well, I don't know if people want to watch your ass. But they might want to hear your thoughts and opinions.
That too.
That too. Yeah, I want us to make enough money with this stuff to where Brock Lesnar could break my desk and I don't care. That's the kind of money I'm trying to get to. If Brock breaks my desk, I'm sending a receipt.
You're damn right. I'm going back to.
Who do I invoice?
I'm going to Walmart. We'll do it. Oh man. Oh man, but
we have a question here before we leave. This is for Roland. This is a abbreviated show today, guys. Roland Curtis says it's great that Brock is now addressing his personality more in the later stages of his career. What do you think about Keith Lee's approach in WWE? He was savage monster in the ring, but an oral philosopher on the mic.
I didn't like it. I said I didn't like it. I thought Keith Lee had a lot of potential. But when you're a monster like Keith Lee, you should go out and be one. There again, Keith Lee's a hell of an athlete, and he does a lot of things that, just say, for instance, I teach a lot of big guys in my school, and certain things we teach them, I say, hey, man, I'm just teaching you this just so you'll know it. This is something that you're never going to actually do in the ring in front of people. Okay, that's not what this is for. Training session. And Keith Lee do a lot of things that he did in training in the ring. That a big man that's north of 300 pounds should not be doing. That's just my opinion.
Do you think though that a big man can't evolve past just a limited move set?
Well,
like can be able to implement more unique.
The thing is, for Keith Lee, it's not that he can't do it. I don't think he's limited or anything like that. It's the fact that he's a 300+ pound man that can do a leapfrog. And so he does it. He's a 300+ pound man that could, springboard over the top rope. So he does it. But trust me, as he get older, he ain't gonna be able to do none of that. All right. So you better try to figure this out now. And I say that because I've been in the business just like everybody else, and I know we got to get out of here. But the things that I did early in my career, like say when I was 25, I stopped doing when I was 30. Because I say, man, I got to figure out how to get some longevity out of my body. I need people to be able to feel me from a work perspective, from a psychology perspective, from a storytelling perspective. And I think my career will last a whole lot longer. Keith Lee is in a position where he's going to have to figure it out as far as being able to go out there and do that stuff. And the thing is, you do that kind of stuff and you go, why? Why did I do it? That's the question, I think, that's going to be posed to Keith Lee in the future is, why am I doing this? And should I be doing it? Hopefully that helps.
We're going a little long, but thing that Callie Toenail said, I'm glad Charlotte finally got some competition, but do you think it's going to be her winning due to Sonya starting to mess with Ronda?
Well, I mean, Charlotte need a win, over Ronda. Ronda's always, had the upper hand, if I'm not mistaken, over Charlotte.
I do believe, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's time for Charlotte to get a little piece of the action, a little champagne wishes and caviar dreams, man. Or maybe some of this You're Worth It. Go to you'reworthit.com/Booker T if you want some of this here. That may be what she is going is going to be looking for. So I think Charlotte, it's time for her to come up. And there again with Sonya Deville playing the role when she got the jacket on, she's one person. When she's got the jacket off, she's somebody else. It might work out. But hey, guys, we got to get out of here, man. It's a short show for us today. Got some Super Bowl talk here later on the station. People got to get into. But I want to thank everybody in the chat for being a part of today's conversation, as well as Brad. Always, man, I appreciate you. And Israel Adesanya, man, again, big ups, man, for keeping a young brother relevant, man. It's all good. Hey, man, we'll see y'all in a couple of days right now. Peace. We out of here.
Can you dig it, you sucker?